right, this is the Committee on Ways and Means. This is Monday, November 10th, 2014. We're at 6 p.m. I have Councilor Napolitano.
Here.
I have Councilor Capone.
Here.
Councilor Della Sola.
Here.
And I got Councilor DeFlorio. We have 4 members present. We do have a quorum.
If we could rise and salute the flag.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
All right.
The clerk could read the first item of business.
All right, the first piece of business is order up by Councilor Michael Marchese as president to transfer $125,000 from the Assessors Overlay Surplus account into the Assessors Professional Services account.
Could we invite the assessor to join us?
So moved.
So moved. And Richard Viskey. Mr. Chairman, could we also invite Richard Viskey up, please? Okay.
A motion to invite Richard Skay up. Do I have a second? All in favor? Does anyone have questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we could, probably be the best thing, just to review, if you could just give us an overview of the piece and what we're looking for, why, and that'd be great.
We've been on a program which by your committees have been funded last year and again this year. The professional services we're doing are audits on personal property accounts and appraisals on real estate.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, the appraisals on commercial industrial properties?
Yes.
As opposed to residential, or?
Well, there are a few apartment complexes we're doing, but most of it is the real big ticket items.
Sure.
90% of them are in ATB.
Okay.
And like I said before, in the past, we have a little bit of a disconnect in the whole mass laws. When we're appraising property for tax bills, we have to do it as a mass appraisal system,
Okay.
which has a different technique than fee appraisals.
Mm-hmm.
But when we go to ATB, it's all fee appraisal.
Okay.
So what we want is some good, solid backup. We feel as though that the values are now truly in line and reflecting market. So what we're doing now is all we can to defend the values as they should be.
So these appraisals, are these ones that are actively in front of the appellate tax board? Or is this
Mo-
just in general?
Most of the appraisals are active in
Okay.
ATB.
Okay.
There's a few that we were feeling that we should have an appraisal because we weren't really sure that the assessed value we have on them correct. And most of these are specialty type properties.
And with this 125, how many of these properties would be generating appraisals?
Let's see. Probably about 10 appraisals and maybe another 15 personal property audits. Now, depending, we might be able to get more out of it than that, but that's a guess at this juncture.
Okay. In what kind of numbers are we looking at the ATB in terms of complaints? What's at stake, I guess, is if you know?
I have a spreadsheet I'm very happy to share with you that gives you exactly what we have outstanding and our guesstimate of potential loss.
Okay.
So I'm happy to give that to you. It's not just 1 year, it's several years.
Yeah, those usually take a while to get up there, so.
Yeah, plus when 4 or 5 years ago, we had hundreds in ATB. And
Mhm.
now we're down to less than 50.
Okay,
So we've come a long way.
okay. Thank you very much. I have no other questions.
Councilman Hanlon?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for being a moment late, but I was held up by a member of the Board of Assessors downstairs. The Assessors Overlay Surplus Account, is this, if this question was asked, just say it was, and I won't ask it again. But is this the one that which we pay off when people come in looking for abatements?
No,
that's
that's overlay.
Which account is that?
That's called overlay.
Overlay
The account
account?
that we take abatements out of. And that's something that is
I'm
raised
sorry,
on
did
the
you say it was called the
recap.
overlay account?
The overlay account is the account we take abatements and exemptions from.
Well,
Not
this says,
professional
this
ser-
says, oh, there's a surplus account?
This is professional services. This,
I think, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
The
go ahead.
Board of Assessors, the overlay account is what's used to grant abatements and exemptions. The Board of Assessors have looked at the amount in the overlay account versus the potential liabilities for that and declared overlay surplus of $250,000. So
Oh,
they
so
move
that
money
goes to
from
another account.
overlay into overlay surplus. That's a function of the Board of Assessors. Now that that's an overlay surplus, it could be used for any legal purpose through a vote of the council. So we come before you to say, we'd like to use this overlay surplus to fund these two items. Half of it, we're trying to fund appraisals and assessments
How-
on.
And how does that get into that account? You come to the city and ask us to put it into that surplus account?
We wrote, the Board of Assessors, after going through their
Uh-huh.
spreadsheet, voted to declare $250,000 as surplus.
Okay, now, does that just go in automatically, or does it have to come before?
No, it's a vote of the Board of Assessors. So the Board of Assessors
Okay,
released
so
the
it never comes to
overlay,
the city council?
not to release it from overlay to overlay surplus. In order to use that surplus, we come
Yes,
before
I
you.
understand that,
If
yeah.
that's not voted by June 30th, that surplus closes the fund balance and becomes part of the following year's free cash.
And the overlay accounts then, is there still money in those accounts?
Yes.
So you still have some, like we always do, you still have figured something's gonna
We
come up?
still, for fiscal year 14, we still have $1.2 million after we
Thank you
release
very
it.
much. Thank you.
Any other questions? Excuse the customer, thanks.
Is that on number one, Mr. Chairman? We just talked about number one, right? Second the motion.
Motion to table action. Any orders? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Clerk will read item number 2.
Item number 2 is a order by Council Michael Marquez as president that we transfer $125,000 from the Assessors Overlay Surplus account into the City Services Playground Updates Maintenance account.
Invite the city assessor and city services.
Well, Mr. Chairman, before you do it, Mr. Chairman, if I may, shouldn't we have someone from the playground department here? Unless they know where it's going? Okay. Move we, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just if you would, Mr. Viskey, just tell us why it's going to the, it says it will continue to renovate the city's parks and tot lots. Is this just a fund for them to draw out of, or is it really?
It's a request to use half of that overlay surplus that was declared to continue the renovation of the city's open space, in particular
I
the
mean, does
parks.
it say which one, or is it just any that happens to
Well,
be?
we haven't planned it out until, once we get the money, and then we'll probably prioritize on which park or parks that money will go toward, but,
Not
I
that you
don't-
have to, but would you let us know what it is when you get it done?
oh, of course,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Okay, no more questions, Mr. Chairman?
Councilman,
On this 125,000, what's the total in there right now? See,
In-
you want to use 125,000, is that what you're going to use for the tot lots, or there's more than 125,000?
No, the amount of overlay surplus that was declared by the Board of Assessors was $250,000. So that moves from overlay to overlay surplus, and then we brought before you two orders to use half of that for appraisals and audits on the assessor side, and the other half we're proposing to use for renovation of the parks and open space. So the $125,000 would be going to an account through city services that would be used to fund the renovations in parks and the the open space in the city. Which particular park, I don't know, it may all go to one park, it could be
Right, right.
divvied up between parks. It's just kind of, as we do our capital plan, that funding source will be used to help supplement any and all park renovations in the city.
This would all start next year, next spring?
Yeah, it's getting a little late now to
Yeah.
do park renovations, but, you know, once we know we have the money, we can put a bid spec together if we want to do a big project, or we can do some renovations of park equipment, et cetera. It's just a matter of going through the process.
This could be, you could redo a whole lot, or just
Yeah, we-
repair things that are there, that need to be repaired, or painting?
Once we get all
whatever it is.
once we get all the requests on what needs to be done, we try to allocate certain funds to certain things. This particular funding source may be better used to kind of do smaller repairs to parks and get them up to snuff. If we have a big, major project, we'll probably come before you with some bonding authorization.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I actually have a question from the chair. And I think I can kind of clarify a little bit of what I think Councilman Del Sol was asking. How much is in the City Services Playground Update and Maintenance account as of now, prior to accepting this us approving the transfer? If you could, if you're able to tell us how much was allocated on the budget, I would have an opportunity to look that up.
I can tell you, just give me 1 second. We put $100,000 in to design refurbished tot lots. We expended $95,670, so we have $4,300 left in that account.
So we've expended the majority of the money that was allocated on the last budget 5 months into this fiscal year?
Yes. And again, there's other funding sources for parks. A lot of it's capital, though. The bigger projects, the Sacramone Park and all that, those are all in design stages. This particular type of money is usually used to redo basketball courts, redo swing sets, and fix gates, fences, et cetera.
And do you have any idea approximately how much we'll be looking at spending in that account this year, this fiscal year?
But we can only spend what's there, so there's only $4,300 left.
No, I understand that. The reason I'm asking that question is that we approved 100,000. Now we're looking at 225,000. So I'm just trying to get some kind of idea between now and the end of this fiscal year, how much more we would be looking at putting into this fund.
Well, at this point, all you're looking at is the $125,000 that we're requesting now. Any future requests will probably come as part of the capital plan or the fiscal year 16 budget. This is kind of found money in a sense, so we're trying to put it to good use. We think doing appraisals and audits on real estate and personal property is good on the assessing side. Considering the assessors, the ones that release this money, we like to give them an option. They requested more money to do these audits and assessments, but we knew that there was probably some overlay surplus, so we could fund it without using tax dollars, so to speak, and then the open space in the parks could use as much money as we can give it, more or less. So, you know, if we have $125,000, we'll find $125,000 worth of work to do, and it's just a matter of which park or parks are the priority.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Flores?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In regards to this money, the tot lots, the basketball hoops, if they get destroyed and you replace them, does that come out of this money also? This is all new products that you're doing?
I mean, if they get destroyed or vandalized, I suppose we could put an insurance claim in, but this is typically trying to just fix cuts that have probably, you know, have cracks in them, or have roots coming through. We're trying to, you know, there's two types of repairs. You know, there's a total renovation, design, rip it out, and like a Glendale Park, which is several $1 million, and then there's others where we'd go down and remove all the sand from the tot lot, put some new mulch in, put a new swing set in, do a basketball hoop, or what have you, and that's typically what you see these dollars for. You can kind of pick, you know, 10,000 here, 5,000 here, depending on what it is. So, you know, I think there's 20-some-odd parks in the city, so there's plenty of work, and we just try to utilize it the best, the most efficient way we can.
So the 100,000 you already spent, do you know which parks were done with that?
Off the top of my head, I don't have them, but I can probably gather the list of what was done. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? So moved. Gentlemen, your pleasure.
Second motion?
Okay, we have motion, favorable action, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We have a motion to adjourn. Is that a second? All in favor? We're adjourned.